Don't dwell on how or why it happened. Focus on how you overcame it.
Hey everyone, I'm Laura.
I'm Kristen.
And this is Souls in Bloom, where Kristen and I have open, candid conversations in hopes of inspiring your personal growth and ours as well. So, Kristen.
Yes.
So, like the other day, this is what inspired this chat today. The other day, no, this is probably a couple weeks back, but in any case, I was scrolling through like pictures on my phone, just looking. I don't even remember what I was looking for, like what picture I was looking for. I think I was just going back to like delete old pictures because I'm one of those people that like collect all the pictures on my phone and I never delete it. And there's like pictures from like eBay listings from like 2 years ago, random stuff like that. So I'm going through these old pictures to delete the stuff I don't need anymore. And I came across this picture of myself in, I think it was the spring of last, or well, I guess maybe the summer of last year, or maybe the year before. It was summertime, and I had this cantaloupe in my hand. And like in the picture, I'm kind of hiding my face behind the cantaloupe. And so next to it is another picture where I'm like holding it up like this. And the whole thing was this picture, this edited one with me, the cantaloupe kind of hiding my face. I distinctly remember taking these like selfies with my cantaloupe to put on my like social, like the Instagram or something like that. And I thought that I was so fat and hideous in this other picture, the one where like my whole face was exposed. So I chose this picture. I'm like hiding my face behind this cantaloupe. Now looking back, I'm just like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, why did I think this was a bad photo? There's nothing wrong with this photo. But in my mind, back when I took it, I just thought it was the most unflattering thing in the whole world. And so my whole point here is we have talked about this a lot, like the weight loss journey thing. And I'm currently doing it again. I started last year and then I got pregnant. So now I'm like resetting.
Yep.
I'm making my way back to pre-pregnancy weight, and then we got to keep going from there. But after like starting the weight loss journey last year, thinking like, oh man, you really need to lose some pounds, and then getting pregnant and blowing up, 50 pounds more. Now that I'm back, like closer to where I was before that, explosion of weight, it like has completely shifted my perspective on what I look like. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I saw myself way worse. Like I was a chunky monkey, like with all that extra fluids and fat and everything, higher blood volume, all the things. Like it really changed my perspective, and it made me realize that we do that to ourselves. We like really beat ourselves up where our current state is on the things that we're trying to change, when it's really not necessarily that bad. Or like you're really, if you, I don't know, it's not that bad necessarily. Like in this specific case, I wasn't as awful as I thought I was. And it's the same, like I used to think I was fat when I was in my teens. I look back at those pictures and I'm like, I'm not bad at all. What was I thinking? And so, what'd you say?
We're all hard on ourselves, I think.
We are, but like what, and then in retrospect, years later, you're like, oh, why was I so hard on myself? One, but like, I don't know. So my whole point, the whole reason I want to have this conversation today is because I wanted to encourage people to give themselves some grace, because I think we're so critical of ourselves when we're like going through stuff. And I don't know why, because we would never treat other people that way, but we do it to ourselves. So I guess the theme of today's chat is like giving yourself a little grace and a little credit.
Yeah, definitely the credit.
Yeah. So I don't know. Have you ever like had that where you're like, you look back where you were and you're like, oh, okay. Like it was such a big deal to me at that point in time. And now it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, of course. And I think a lot could have to do with your circumstances at the time, maybe your friends at the time influencing you or making you think different things, maybe like what's trendy, what's not trendy. I'm sure there's a lot of factors that go into why you felt that way, or like I felt that way in whatever situation.
Yeah.
So it has a lot to do with that. And as I get older, I think I'm less, how do I want to word this? Like, I I don't want it to sound like I care less
Mhm.
about certain things than I did back when I was younger. So I
Yeah.
think maybe that has a lot to do with it too. Like you like wanted to fit in maybe, or wanted to look a certain way for somebody. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot more factors that went into it then than maybe now.
Yeah. That's true. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying like let me be clear too. When I'm saying we're looking back and like being, more with more clarity of where we're at, we're trying to like adopt that mindset now as we're trying to change things. I'm
Mhm.
not saying like, oh, you're fine where you're at. Like you'll be fine, Don't worry about it. Like stop your goals. You're good. But what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say is like we need to give ourselves credit for trying the things in the first place and a little bit of grace and like stop beating ourselves up so much. I know like one of the issues I've fought in the past, and I'm trying to be like more mindful of it now, is like beating yourself up for being in that position in the first place. Why did I let myself gain this 50 pounds in the first place? Why did I
Mhm.
let myself, get this addiction or whatever in the first place? And it's easy to beat yourself up for that stuff, but like what you need to do is be kind to your current self and give yourself credit for the fact that you're trying to change in the first place,
Yeah.
because that's a huge deal, and only present you can change present you.
Yeah.
So try not to be so mean to him or her, because you need them. You need them to change.
Yeah, and sometimes it may not matter why you did that or how you got that way.
Mhm.
The thing that matters is how you got out of it, how you overcame it, how you became
Yes.
better, how you changed it. You know, you could also shift the focus of what you're shift the mindset of that, like don't don't dwell on how or why it happened. Focus on how you came overcame it, I guess is what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Because a lot of time, you hear this phrase a lot, but like the what is it? Like the oh, what is the phrase? I can't think of the exact phrase, but basically it's like the growth is in the journey, not like in the destination. There's a
Yeah.
quote I can't think, but that it's so true though. Like this entire growth process that you're about to go through or currently going through only can happen as you travel through this journey,
Mhm.
And once you get there, it's because you did the journey in the first place. It's not because you're there now necessarily. It's because you traveled to it, whatever that end space is. Because
Yeah.
if you're already there, like you're not learning anything. The lessons are in the process of going through whatever change or goal or whatever it is you have.
Yep.
That's where your growing is coming from. It's in the process. It is not just arriving there or being there and never having left there. You don't learn any lessons that way. That
Hmm.
does nothing for you.
Yeah. And I mean, a good example of that is what just came to mind for me of like going through the process, reselling. I mean, my business reselling is literally a process. It
Mhm.
is trial and error. It's learning brands and what sells and what doesn't. And nobody's going to know right from starting to be a reseller what's going to sell and what doesn't, what's trendy, what's popular right now, what people are going to want, what styles. You have to
Mhm.
learn and you have to build your customer base, what they like, and it's not going to be something that you figure out right away, and it's going to be quick and easy.
Yep.
So, that's a process for me. I'm always learning. And I think that that's fun. Like the process and the learning could be the fun part. And try not to think of it as like difficult or challenging or beat yourself up if there's like a setback or something.
Yeah.
Because in the setbacks, you're learning too. Maybe
Yeah.
even like what I do, maybe what I do when I get like a setback or, frustration, or maybe something doesn't go my way or something, just relax, like take a minute and just like
yeah,
hang in there, because it's not going to go your way the way you want it to all the time.
right. It's kind
So
of,
there's another grace part right there.
yeah, for sure. Because if you never hit any sort of like road bumps or anything, everything's just smooth sailing. That doesn't do anything for your personal growth, one, or two, it just doesn't prepare you for other aspects of your life. When you're
Yeah.
going through obstacles, whatever they may be, it kind of gives you tools to navigate other aspects of your life in the
Yep.
future,
Yep.
problem solving skills, or just you're testing your perseverance. Are you really going to stick with this when it's hard? I
Yep.
don't know, but you should, and it will allow you the ability to kind of practice that if you can stick with it. But
Yep. And that's where your growth comes in. When you are challenging yourself, that's when you grow. That's when you're making different connections in your brain that weren't made before, and you are figuring things out. And I always say, like, when I'm talking to Kyle about something, like, for example, my website and how I built that on my own. And I am not a tech savvy person, okay? But I looked things up. I used ChatGPT. I explored the website. I literally just clicked things and see what they did. You know what I mean? And I would
Mhm.
I would remember telling Kyle, "Home, I'm like, oh my god, my brain hurts," you know. And
Yeah,
that to me means like, oh my gosh, I'm making all these new connections and like learning new things and growing myself and my brain. It's just thought
yeah,
that was funny.
it's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So, yeah, I mean, this isn't really going to resonate with anybody or with everybody, but video games are kind of like this. We're like, if you go to set out to play a video game, like let's say a quest game where you have to go do stuff. I don't know, whatever. Mario Brothers immediately comes to my mind. But in any case, how boring would it be if you just like start the game and then the very next thing it's like, oh, you found the princess, the end, and that's it. Like there's your reward immediately
Yeah.
off the bat. What did you learn? What did you gain from that experience? Nothing. It's meaningless. But if you go through the game, you keep playing that one spot over and over again because your character keeps falling off the cliff. And then finally you get over that cliff and like you're overjoyed because you accomplished something that was hard. You
Yep.
know, that's kind of what life is like. Life is like a giant game, but it's full of obstacles and those are frustrating, but very rewarding once you get past them.
Yeah, exactly. I
So,
agree. And, just don't bully yourself. Like you mentioned earlier, like don't be hard on yourself. Don't bully yourself. Instead, try to think of everything that you are doing and that you are trying, and that maybe somebody else wouldn't do that. Like I know a bunch of people in my life that would never be able to or want to do things that I'm doing,
mhm.
so you can not like I'm saying to compare yourself to people, but there are people out there not able to do or not wanting to do what you're doing, but look at you're doing it. You know what I mean? You can kind of give yourself a little, like, confidence boost that way. Like you are the one doing it. Even something as like in my family, my immediate family, I'm the only one that went to college. I'm the
Yeah.
only one that went to college and graduated college.
Congrats. Yeah, nice.
So that's, something, simple that you could think of. Like I did that, but no one else in my family did. And it could be, things that you can think of that you can actually be happy for yourself for, and give yourself that little confidence, that little like, oh, like I can do this. I did that. I can do this. And
Yeah.
instead of thinking of like the negatives of it,
Yeah.
or if you had a setback, or if something you tried didn't work, okay, well, how can you finagle it to work,
For
type
sure.
thing.
And I'll add on to that a little bit. As far as like accomplishing things that other people haven't necessarily, keep in mind too, wherever you're at right now in your journey, you're like there's somebody else out there that would like kill to be how far along in your like in their own journey that you are right now.
Yep.
Like whatever your goal is, if you've made steps towards it, you are doing way better than somebody else, and like they are envying you. So like while you're sitting there like, why is this so easy for this person, or like I wish I was there, realize that there's somebody else out there that's thinking that about you as well.
Yep.
Like you could be somebody else's inspiration. So keep at it and be inspiring to yourself and be an inspiration to other people. Lead by example. Just do it. Show other people they can do it too. But I don't think personally that's like one of my biggest motivations in life is to lead by example. Like if I can motivate somebody else to do something that I've done first, like that's pretty cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah. I mean, I've even had people email me, like either other YouTubers or other resellers, like, hey, I really like how you do X. Can I do that too? Like, can I do it that way too? Like, or I like how you do it this way, or I like how you do this. Can I do that too? I said, absolutely. I said, if there's something that I'm doing that you think you can do also, yes. I said, I have no problem with you or anyone copying anything I do, because really, if you think about it, that means I'm doing something right, that somebody else wants to do. So that makes me feel great. So, think about that too, that people may not come outright and tell you that, but there could be people that are watching and wishing and wanting and maybe even following your footsteps.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is like, I think we may have touched on this last episode, but we're always so worried about like failing and what happens if we fail, and what if I, drop off the diet wagon, or what if I start with my gambling habit again, or whatever, whatever it is. What if you succeed? Like try to shift your mindset into achieving those goals and prepare for success. Don't prepare so much for failure. Prepare for success. And one of those things can be helping others achieve what you achieved. So kind of, have that in the back of my mind, the back of your mind,
Yep.
So, and then the other thing I'll say, the last suggestion I'll make is to maybe try to reward yourself. Give yourself a little pat on the back as you go. Don't reward yourself with the thing that you're trying to avoid. In other words, if you're on a diet, journey, don't reward yourself with food. If you're cutting down on your drinking, don't reward yourself with a drink or whatever it may be. But there's other rewards out there. A nice spa day, a haircut, a mani-pedi, whatever, ways to reward yourself and encourage yourself to keep going. Make small attainable goals so that you can, get to the rewards. And do not forget to give yourself some credit for going on this journey in the first place, because it is huge. There's so many people out there that want to accomplish what you are trying to accomplish that can't take the first step. They just can't do it.
Yep.
Or they won't do it, or they don't have the gumption to do it. So give yourself some credit. Give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
You're doing awesome.
Yeah. And I want to say, I did write this down because I wanted to make sure I did not forget to say this. And this is the perfect part. Hold yourself to a high standard because you deserve it. I wanted to make sure I say that. And then something that you made me think of just before, that's why I was looking down. I was getting on my phone, so I make sure I don't mess it up. It's a quote from this YouTuber that I used to watch anyway. I don't have time anymore. But she has a quote. Her name is Amber Scholl, if anyone wanted to go check her out. She says, what if it doesn't come true? But what if it does?
Yes.
So I always liked that. It always gives me the chills, because people are like, well, but what if it doesn't come true? Or what if it doesn't work? Okay, well, what if it does?
Yeah. And I'll tell you exactly what happens if it doesn't. You're right back where you are right now.
Yeah.
You're in the exact same spot. Things are going to be exactly how they are now. If you fail, you're right back where you were. That's that. But if you succeed, imagine the possibilities for sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll cut it off there. I think this was good today. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new one.
Until then.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.